I think one of my favorite moments so far of being on this is watching Liz leave the show.
Where's she going? Sorry about that.
Enormous ears to put on.
It's so great.
That visual really does stay with me. Anyway,
you should wear those the rest of this segment.
Yep, I think so, Liz. And then we'll make our
I wish I had a pair.
It'll create have our listeners go and watch it on YouTube because they got to watch the YouTube version to actually.
You really want me to? You really want me to?
Oh, that's gonna make it on the thumbnail for sure.
Oh yes.
I can't tell if you're teasing, if you really want me to. I just feel kind of silly. But it's just, I don't know. I'm kind of a visual person, and some of those things help me. That's great. I think it's goofy.
That is so great. What was that, Liz? Anyway. I wasn't listening. Nah, just kidding.
This is way better than a talking stick, I have to say. Like, giving my clients this and them knowing you're the listener now is just so
good.
I love it.
Those are perfect.
All right, Rex and Sarah. What questions do you have for Heather?
Heather is all ears.
Do you have any, Sarah? Did you want me to go first, or you have something you want to lead with?
Sure. Well, I loved, I wrote it down because I loved when you said the skill of interpretation. I love that. So tell me a little bit more about that, with what you mean by that, and how does somebody, because the skill is something that we can develop and get better at, right? So when we're with someone and trying to build a relationship, tell me more about that skill of interpretation. How do you refine that skill or build it?
Mm-hmm. I think being curious, asking a lot of questions. I mean, ideally, we're moving into relationship conflict as a speaker with like the most perfect skills. We are saying exactly what we mean and meaning exactly what we say. And when that doesn't happen, it's so important as the listener to be able to see through what's really being said, to, first of all, being able to name the emotion, even if it isn't being named by that person, or being curious about that. You seem really frustrated with me. Am I getting that right? Is that how you're feeling, for example? And being able to be clear about what the frustration is. I'm feeling like you're frustrated with me. Am I getting that right? And you're frustrated because I came home late and I didn't call you and tell you that I was going to be late. Is that what I'm hearing? And then, it going even deeper underneath that. Why would coming home late be an issue? Because you feel disregarded when I don't let you know that I'm going to be late, and that having a meal together after work is really important to you and a really important part of our relationship connection. And not doing that is upsetting for you. And that makes sense to me. So you can see there's layers there, the emotion, the facts, and then what's really happening underneath that is so vital and so important to the relationship, to the connection, to the individual.
Mm-hmm. I love that. It sounds like asking a lot of questions.
Absolutely.
is the key. And I loved another thing you said, defensiveness is my signal to ask more questions and find more understanding. I love that you said that. I wrote that down too, because I'm like, that is so good. Just like when you get in that defensive space to be, okay, I need more questions, more understanding. I love that.
Well, I like what you just said too, because a big thing just for me in my marriage is feeling valid if I'm upset about something. And to come across, like you said, oh, are you frustrated? If the other person can label what I'm feeling, then it makes me feel a little more, at least valid, or they understand me. And then, getting into the root of it, like, okay, so why is that a bad thing? Oh, it's important that I'm home. You think meals are important together. And then you can really talk about a problem. That reminds me of what you said about the couple who had the truck, and really realizing what the truck meant to each one of them. And then they could work out let's just get another car so that we don't have this problem anymore. But that was really beautiful because they both were valid in their concern, and they came to a solution together rather than rubbing together and creating friction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And in relationships, we think often, I should speak for myself again, they're wrong I'm right. This is ridiculous. I know what's really going on. And something like, the truck, it's like that could seem really ridiculous. But if I give so much space and time to understand my partner and really go deeper with them, it makes so much sense why something is really important to them like that.
That was a difficult thing early in my marriage when my wife didn't realize why I was always right. That was a huge problem. And then I had to learn empathy and say, "Oh, we're different people. We have different likes and things like that." But just to make light of that for a second, why? I almost feel like it's a twofold question, but maybe I should ask. I want to ask why people have a hard time listening, but maybe I should ask, like, what can people do to improve their listening to their partner and the issues that they're having?
What can people do to improve? Well, we know really simple things like back channel vocalizations and leaning in are really important. So just being able to signal to oneself, I'm supposed to be listening right now, versus, well, what am I going to say back to them? Or how can I help them understand where I'm coming from? If I can first say, oof, my partner has a concern, I need to be the listener, and then I need to attune to them by letting them know that I'm listening, is a massive first step in the right direction.
And Liz, maybe you should have them wear those ears.
Maybe so.
When they're having, you're the listener today, and then.
Right, honey, I'm all ears. Right, I'm all ears.
That is great. Now you mentioned earlier the key to a stronger marriage, and I agree with what you said, is that people can be practice more generosity and kindness. Are there ways that people can do that, or do you have any examples from people you've worked with that they learn to be more generous and kind to each other that improve their connection?
Well, we know that practicing fondness and admiration is really foundational to a healthy relationship, and engaging in rituals that can help us feel connected to each other is also characteristic of happy relationships. So actively engaging in connection is really important. And then expressing that in a lot of different ways. We know that people in happy relationships tend to see their partner better than they actually are, which I love. And we know that giving our partner the benefit of the doubt or seeing them in a positive light really does equal better relationships. So I think that is a way that we can practice kindness and generosity, is assume the best of our partners, to know that they're coming from a place of good intention or not trying to do harm is vital to that point of being kind and generous.
Yeah. There's an old saying, treat a person as they can be, not as they are. But that is so hard to practice sometimes. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. Now, you guys talked about a little mental issue a little bit, and this was actually a question we had in a previous episode from the audience is, do you have any ways that a partner can help their spouse or their partner with, if they're starting to notice any kind of mental or cognitive issues? And sometimes that can be a really difficult thing to
they don't think that they need help or can't see it, but another partner is like, something's off. Yeah.
Do you want me to respond to that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yes, you or anybody else.
I think that there's a few things we can do. First of all, practice that kindness and generosity piece, being really curious, expressing concerns with love versus judgment, providing support, saying, hey, I would go with you if you might think that something like, going to therapy or seeing your doctor, talking to someone would help. I think these are some things that we can do. And then I also think maintaining personal stability and personal wellness is another important part, because we know that energy that can happen in a home, in interactions with people that we love and care about, it affects us. So taking good care of ourselves helps us show up for our partner if and when they're ready to take steps to advocate for their own wellness.
Good.
Great point.
I love those ears, Liz.
Yeah.
I just looked down and see those.
Amazing.
I am so glad to have met you, Heather.
Yeah.
And just been a wonderful interview. Thank you for your kindness, and you're just so honest. You know, it's just so charming and so real. Thank you for that. I bet your clients just are so fond of you.
No, I have the best job in the world. I really do.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
Thanks for joining us today. Hey, do us a favor and take a second to subscribe to our podcast and the Utah Marriage Commission YouTube channel at Utah Marriage Commission, where you can watch this and every episode of the show. Be sure to smash the like button, leave a comment, and share this episode with a friend. You can also follow and interact with us on Instagram at Stronger Marriage Life and Facebook at Stronger Marriage. So be sure to share with us which topics you loved or which guests we should have on the show next. If you want even more resources to improve your marriage or relationship connection, visit strongermarriage.org, where you'll find free workshops, e-courses, in-depth webinars, relationship surveys, and more. Each episode of Stronger Marriage Connection is hosted and sponsored by the Utah Marriage Commission at Utah State University. And finally, a big thanks to our producer, Rex Polanis, and the team at Utah State University, and you, our audience. You make this show possible. The opinions, findings, conclusions, and recommendations expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views of the Utah Marriage Commission.